Good evening and welcome back to ESL One Katowice. It's a live coverage coming here from the Spodek Arena. We're not quite inside the arena in full just yet. That's a couple of days away, of course, before the magic and the crowd appear to cheer on their favourite Dota 2 players. However, we are deep inside the group stages right now, and we have a little bit of a problem because two teams have decided to play some very long games against each other in the form of Alliance and compLexity, which kind of stalls us a little bit as far as giving you the last series of the day, which is between Fnatic and compLexity. Massive matches for both teams, but for very different reasons. compLexity need both those points to stay in contention to make the playoffs and actually stay alive here in ESL One Katowice. So on the other side of things, Fnatic safely through to the brackets, but whereabouts? They want to be in the top half, and that's why they need the 2 points. Before we get there, though, and we'll give the players obviously a chance to have a break, they're right in the middle of their second game at the moment, so we've got to wait for the game to finish, and then a 15-minute break or so for the players to have in between the matches. So plenty of time for us to do something a little bit different, give you some more content, maybe give you some ideas about where we are in terms of Dota 2, and also catch you right up to date with what's gone on so far over the first 2 days here at ESL One Katowice. Now we're going to start things off because we've changed our panel a little bit. We've got Blitz back with us alongside Purge. How you doing?
Good.
Yeah?
I'm here. You should talk though. Go
I never
right?
know who those are directed to.
That was kind of, it was to you because Kevin's been here for a while.
I see. I didn't know that
we
you were
know
on a
Kevin.
previous
He's
panel.
been here for a while.
That one's on me. I'm
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, you right?
It's the long games of Dota.
Long games today.
Well, they like alternate because this patch is so weird
Yeah.
that it just goes from like.
They're all still figuring it out, Will.
Yeah.
They're still trying to figure things out. So what I thought we'd do is we'd go back to our question bank. Now, one of the questions that we had earlier, we didn't have time to do this one, but I really like this question. Mark Messmore messaged us earlier on, and he says, give us all your all underrated team, i.e. a player in each position who does not nearly get the praise that they should.
Any
So you can do 1 to
position.
5. I'm going to do this thing both ways. I've got Blitz and
This is
Purge as a
difficult.
team, right?
You're basically asking us like, tell me some player that's not very well known in each
No, they can be
position
well known, but
that
just maybe
should
don't
be.
get the, we don't talk about them much on the panel. For
But then I'm not going to think about them, Paul. This is the issue with this question. I need a list.
See, but this is a bit harder than just going, pick the 5 best players here, because that's pretty easy,
It
Will.
is hard. Could you have told us this 5 minutes ago so we
Yeah.
could do some homework?
Yeah,
No, I wanted to spring it on you to make it harder. Give me one underrated player, Will. One that we don't really talk about that you think's actually really good.
Okay, I think.
Any position.
Oh god, this is hard. Okay, so I think so. Yesterday, Fada went like I think it was like 15-0 and like 25 on Death Profit, and I didn't really like talk about it because. I mean, the guy doesn't have any social media presence. Like,
Right.
he never tweets.
Yeah.
Doesn't have an Instagram.
Yeah.
Doesn't stream.
Yeah.
Doesn't do interviews. I've never seen him do an interview willingly. It's like the guy wants to be as low-key as possible. He wants to play his guitar back at home and just chill and do nothing else but play Dota and sleep. So I think sometimes, like, I myself underrate him. You only notice him when he plays bad, which isn't often, but, like, I mean, I feel like he's one of the most consistent players in Dota 2. He's a hard mid-lane matchup for anybody. Like, this guy does not roll over to any player. So for me, anyways, I think Fada, like, yeah, people know him. It's kind of a hard question because, I want to go for like a non-typical
Like a
answer.
new star or something,
yeah, I don't
or
want
a
to
rising star. No, I get it, but you're right. That's the kind of player I'm looking at.
Yeah.
When we talk about Secret in the past, we didn't really talk about Fada. When we talk about his current team, we don't really talk about him. We're talking about PPD doing great as a 5 or a draft or whatever, and we're talking about Ace going off. We're never talking about Fada, really, are we?
Yeah. I mean, the interesting part is that almost every mid laner has this, like, it's a personality trait almost. It's like this tick to kind of be like a little bit arrogant,
Yep.
like kind of,
Yep.
go up, make bold statements, clown on people, BM. And I think he used to do that a lot more. Remember when he was like on his mouse days and stuff like that? He used to have a lot more beef with people. But now I think he just like tries to stay out of everything.
Yeah.
He just tries to kind of keep to himself under the
Okay.
radar.
In a similar vein, can I throw Anna in there?
No.
I mean, he won.
Yeah, he wanted.
TI.
Yeah, but still kind of like there are still question mark. People still question whether he is
I don't think-
actually as good as he is. And
Look,
he's
you-
kind of like Fada as well. He doesn't like the limelight.
You
He
can't
shies
question
away
him
from it.
anymore.
Doesn't want to be.
Look, he won majors,
Okay.
and then they kicked him, which
Yeah.
seemed weird. And I was like,
Yeah.
oh, maybe he's not good. But then
Yeah.
they brought him back, and then they won another. It's like
Okay.
clearly it's out. It's not
Alright.
performance.
So
it's gotta be
he's
something
because
else.
he's too successful. We can't include him.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Fine.
Plus, I
We're-
think-
we're making our own criteria as we go along.
I think he might have like the best resume for how short he's been playing.
Yes.
Like he, for me anyways, like if you had to do an MVP by just like a 2-year period, I think Anna's resume is pretty much unmatched. He won
I
every
think he'd probably put Miracle in
he
there.
won
as
the
well, couldn't he?
majority of the majors. He won a TI.
Look,
Put
Miracle.
Miracle there, major
was,
winner, TI winner.
Miracle was like Anna level, and then he kind of didn't. I mean, he's very good by all means, but it hasn't been. I don't know, like time period wise, Miracle's been in the scene for like 3 years now. He's old news.
Okay.
Big time old
Alright.
news.
Anna's only been playing for competitive Dota for like, because he wasn't even in that squad for the majority of time. It was like a year and a half. He
Yes.
played competitive Dota for like a year and a half, won every major, messed around, came back and won TI. So
Okay.
that's a good resume.
How about someone like Dahak?
Don't know enough about him.
oh,
right.
the Gambit carry, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's really good.
Yeah. I think he, like, when you talk to other players and you talk to them about who's one of the newer guys that you really, a lot of players have actually been mentioning him, saying, no, he's there's something about him. He's got something about him. He can play a really wide range of carries, does a lot for his team. He can play the sacrificial role if he needs to. He's quite happy to get sacked in a lane, but he can also carry them as well.
So he's an interesting case because I think it's a weird question because I guess we haven't really like qualified what makes somebody
no,
underrated.
I mean, I left it purposely
Yeah,
open because it's
So
easier.
I think he's a really good player, and he just kind of needed the stage, and now he's being appropriately rated. Like Gambit's a very good team.
They are. I definitely saw that in the last
An
tournament
underrated
as well.
team too, in a way, aren't they?
Yes. I mean, I think part of it is just that the organization has not ever done anything big in Dota, at least. I know it has in some other games, but in terms of Dota, it's been almost nothing. Almost a lot of these players are a little unknown. They've always been on like 2 or 3 squads, with the exception of FNG, who's had some good TI placements with like Virtus Pro, for example. So I think it's just flying under the radar a little bit. But once you check out how they've been placing recently, they're definitely impressive. They're up and coming, and it'll be potentially another CIS All-Star team.
Okay. And have you had a chance to think about, is there a player that you kind of think we don't... Really...
I've mostly been scared. When you started talking about Fada, my body was at the perfect position so that Fada came up here, and I genuinely thought somebody was behind me and stood up. So I've just been
It's okay.
scared.
Fog's had Fog's done the same thing
Yeah,
today. Yeah, he's like, who's that?
It legitimately scared me. I was like, someone's behind me. It was
Yeah,
like that
it was
anime
SVG,
moment.
I think, for him that scared him as well. So.
It was Fada. Fada got me good.
All right. What about someone like Z-Freak?
Okay, yeah, that's the perfect characterization of a player that's been talked about as like amazing, but hasn't had massive success to combo with it. I think he's definitely a very good example.
If you like, I don't mean to be mean to the compLexity team that they're in right now because they're still kind of going through that transition. But if you took him out and you put him in, I don't know, a Fnatic or an Alliance or a NIP or an EG or one of those, do you think that that would elevate the team and he would then be seen as, oh wow, he is tier 1 now?
He just hasn't had like. Number one, he doesn't seem like a bad boy or like an egotistical person, which tying that together with high skill always feels like it matters more brand-wise. So, like, that's part of the reason he probably flies under the radar.
Yep.
And I just don't see it. Like, imagining that universe feels weird to me because Z-Freak's been on the same team the whole time. So, I don't know. He's definitely that skill level. He definitely always plays extremely well. Seems like he's a good varied playstyle, but he hasn't really necessarily been like, because his fan base isn't as big, hasn't really been the guy that everybody screams for.
Okay, so maybe a little underrated. Is there anyone else? What about an offlaner out there? Is there any of the offlaners that you think that maybe squeak by and we don't really talk about them too much?
Shoot, I forgot his name. The guy on, he's from Ukraine. Starts with a G, I think. Goblak? Is that no?
Goblak?
I can't remember.
Was on Fly to Moon last year, or?
I think so. He's blonde. I know what he looks like. I can't remember what team he's on right now. I'm gonna find out one
okay,
sec.
all right. What about Boxy?
Oh, Boxy's
Would
good.
Boxy be in there? Because I always look at him and think, this kid has some skills. I know they haven't necessarily seen a huge amount of success yet, but they have been playing better, and they have been playing more consistent, and they have been playing together for quite a while now.
Yeah, I think Boxy's really good. I think what he lacks more than anything is experience. You can see sometimes like when he makes plays, like he'll play one of these like initiator heroes and he'll overrate like how strong he is at times. And I think that goes away with the more experience you have. Because it's like you don't really know your own strength at first. The thing about Dota is like it's a very punishing game. I never played Han, so I have no one-on-one comparison of what kind of player he was in Han. But I can only imagine he was aggressive as hell because in Dota he just runs at people, and his mechanical skill bails him out a lot more than it should.
Yeah.
Like oftentimes he rides that margin, that knife's edge, and he's just like, well, we'll see what happens. It almost feels like I'm watching with him where he's like, well, let's see how this goes, and he's just kind of adding to his pool, like, okay, well, that clearly went poorly. I can't push it that far and stuff like that.
I mean, is he like the typical early young Formula One driver who spins out a lot early on?
I don't
to
watch
try
that
and
stuff.
find to find the edges. Effectively, that's what he's trying to find, isn't he? He's trying to find how far can I take this on each hero in each position, and that takes time, doesn't it?
Yeah, of course. It's better to get it early out of your career, just like figuring out stuff like that. Like you saw it with, for example, like Sumail and GH when they first entered. It was like it was a little bit rough.
Yeah.
They were just still
Some of
trying
it
to figure
looked
out.
genius-like.
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
some of it looked really bad, didn't it?
Because you could see the potential for
Yeah.
both those players, but it still takes a little bit of time to sort of feel like, okay, this is what it's like to play in a pro environment. I guess this first tournament in what? The one in Vegas that they played?
Just before
Yeah, that was
DAC.
right before
Yeah, that was the one that like Conrad
Yeah.
produced or something like that. Like he did not look amazing there.
Right.
And I think part of it was just kind of figuring out what his limits were and saying like, oh, I can actually get away with stuff like
But
this.
it was also the fact that he was 14 and a half or something and went off to a tournament for the first time in his life.
Yeah, for sure.
He was really young then. Yeah, it's hard to whenever those young players grow up a little bit. Just watching like the I think it was the intro for Fnatic actually the same thing. I was like, damn, DJ's like 24 now. I remember in Korea he was really young. There's just all those players grow up.
Did you find your guy?
It was Ghost Stick.
Oh,
Their
okay.
G name.
Alright.
I think he's always been really fantastic. He's on Pango, right? The Pango right now.
The Pango,
He's been on Empire. He was on Empire for like a couple of years before that, so he's always really impressed me with his play. Has a sick CK, of course.
Yep.
Most players have good CKs right now, but yeah, I think he's maybe an offline player that hasn't quite struck gold yet, but is up there. And
All right. Well, we're going to put Ghost Stick in as our 3-stroke boxy because we're not quite sure. We haven't spoken about a 4 or a 5 yet.
I'd take Ghost Stick over Boxy right now.
Would you?
Yeah, because I think Ghost Stick is much
Experience-wise?
more. He's much more under the radar.
Okay, helps to be on a weaker team.
Hmm
Yeah. All right. What about some supports then? Harder for supports, isn't it? Because we generally see the players who used to play core kind of slip through the order and become 4s and 5s. We don't now. I mean, I'm thinking of like Roger, for instance, came through and he's okay, great 4. That's what he plays. That's what he is. Is there anyone else out there right now?
I was hoping your sentence would go on for another 15 seconds. That way, you really stretched
I can
it.
feel for Phil if you want. But yeah, we've stretched it a little bit. I mean,
think
for instance, is King RD underrated
No.
in that 4 role? Or have we found, actually, we know where he is now?
He seems good for his team level.
Yeah.
I guess this may be how I would argue it for him. He's
Yeah.
like well known. He's he's good. He's not like incredible, but it's everybody likes him. I don't know. I wouldn't say he's undervalued. I think Insania's been playing really good sometimes. He had some really good Coddle games that we play that were really solid, but not always consistently. So maybe it's hard to say him.
I think mine is DDC.
Okay, yeah. I mean that's one of my favorites.
He's
That's
got
my favorite
$1
choice.
million in career earnings, more than that.
Yeah.
$1.25 million.
He's also got every TI.
But the thing is, you don't talk about him.
Top 4 like 3 times.
No.
I wanna say,
But here's the
something
thing,
like
Paul, is
Okay.
you don't talk about him in the same vein as Kuro and Puppy, who have also been to every TI. You just kind of
True.
he
No,
sort
you're
of
right.
just sneaks by.
that. Yeah.
Like I bet most people don't know that he's on like Team Root right now.
Yeah.
It's just he's a guy that I think he plays 5, he plays Dazzle, he just kind of sits back. Every game he plays well.
Never dies.
Yeah, you never notice him.
Yeah.
Because he's not like a flashy 5. He doesn't have, for me anyways, like I don't really follow any of his social media and stuff like that. I've never seen one of his interviews. He's my favorite player personally, but he just kind of sneaks under the radar, really quiet, unassuming dude. I think DDC, for how good he is, how much he's won, like what a winner he is, he's not talked about enough. And,
I like him in our underrated team because he
Nice.
provides like that experience, doesn't he?
Mm-hmm.
For the other guys that
So who
maybe
we got,
don't.
Paul?
We've got the Hack, Fatter, Ghostic, and DDC so far.
So we need
we need a 4 and a coach.
We need a 4. Oh, and
Yeah.
a coach.
Yeah.
I'll pick Blitz for underrated coach. Throw it in.
I think people know who he is, though.
It's just so hard for us to tell if somebody's a good
Yes,
coach
it is.
unless
Because
you're for
but
them, so I
the
just don't
coaches'
wanna-
roles are also very varied, aren't they? You know, like,
yeah, I'm sure they are.
like how much they put into the team. You know, whether it's a Passerel's type who's working with 1 or 2 of the players on draft ideas, or whether he's actually in the booth doing the draft. You've got Blitz, who was more like a human coach,
Back rubs,
mind and
foot
what have you. Yeah.
massage.
So it's very difficult to tell. Each coach is very different, and all the roles are very different.
I just don't. I don't even want to commentate on
All right.
coaches unless I know them
Okay.
personally or I'm in. The
I'm
team
gonna
environment.
put Purge.
Cross it off. Oh, sure, that works.
Purge. I'm gonna
That
put
works. I'll
Purge in
take
as
that.
our coach.
Mhm.
Yep. We need a 4. That's what we need, boys.
We need a 4
We
position.
need a
player?
4. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, this is a bit tougher actually, isn't it? Because you can't go full on Yapzor because not underrated.
not
We know
underrated.
how good he is.
Yeah.
Can you put Saxa in there
Sax is not bad.
Yeah,
as an underrated player? Because he's been around for a while, hasn't he?
but you wouldn't say he's underrated at TI6 at all. everybody saw him like, oh, this guy's one of the best fours in the world. But then he just fell off for a year and a half, so you kind of he's a good example.
Yeah.
Just because of that, because he fell off, he coached a little bit.
Just ignore him in NIP as well. I think because they've got so many superstars in that team, you kind of look at all of the, 33 is doing this and Ace is doing this. And PPD's this.
I think 3-3.
We rarely talk about Saxa in that team, do we?
I mean, he's played a lot of Batrider lately, so you're like, wow, what a sticky napalm. Oh, and if you miss it, you're like, well, it's okay. He'll get another one in 3 seconds. No, he's been good. I think he stands out a little bit. But not, he's a little underrated right now considering his MMR.
All right, are we happy with Saxa? We're going to put Saxa in at 4. All right, so that leaves us. This is our team. Thank you, Mike, for your question. This is Dahak, Fato, Ghostic, Saxa, DDC, and Purge as the coach. That answers your question. It took a while for us to get there.
But are you doing work for your Valve right now? Is this the All-Star team lineup for August?
This is the pre-TI9 All-Star.
Did you hear my All-Star game suggestion?
No.
What was that?
You go 5-on-5.
Yeah.
If you win, nothing happens.
What?
If you lose, everybody loses 500 MMR per person.
That would make them play properly, at least. Why can't we have...
If you grab players where they care about their MMR, though.
But everybody cares about their MMR.
Why can't we have, like, those boos? Do you remember the boos back in the day on the children's shows where they had goo in them?
Oh,
above them,
like
the
Nickelodeon, the slime.
If you get killed 3 times, you get gooed. But you have to carry on.
Their keyboard and mice that they need to use the day after to play for TI.
It's fine.
Dang, that game was
good.
Our game just ended.
That game is done, by the way. compLexity have won their game.
Good
Miracle went Miracle.
Be careful.
Went absolutely off in that game.
Yes, he did. compLexity winning their game, which is good news for us as well, because it does mean, of course, that we can move on. We've still got a little bit of time because the players do have to take a break right now. Obviously, we're forcing them to play straight away. Well-deserved break after a very long series for Alliance and compLexity. compLexity in our next series, of course, going head-to-head with Fnatic. So let's talk about where we are in the group stages, gents, and bring everyone right up to date, because Fnatic in this group, is that a surprise to either of you?
I don't think so. They're skilled. They're playing super well right now. It seems like they have strategies that are cohesive. I think they're in a really good spot.
Seem to be playing quite well.
Yeah, but I also think that they have, and this might upset some people, but I think they have the easier group.
Okay.
I think that Group A
I'm upset.
is absolutely stacked.
You've upset Kevin now.
You've got Secret, who's been winning everything under the sun. They're the previous ESL winner. They won the major as well. You've got Gambit, who's just on an absolute tear.
Yep.
They just won the Valentine's event that Kevin was just at. You have OG, who won TI. You have Forward, who is not an easy victory for anybody. And then, Mineski and For the Dream, they've had a little bit of a...
Yeah, when you describe it like that, I'm kind of like, oh, damn, you're right, dude.
Yeah, it does sound about right, doesn't it? Just to take you through the standings on your screen right now. This is Group A. Secret, 7-1. They're already qualified, as are Gambit on 7-1. Both of those two teams will go to the upper bracket. We just need to know which order. Good news is, those two play each other in their game tomorrow for the decider in that group. OG are definitely through, but we don't know in which position. They could finish 3rd or 4th. They're on 4 and 4. Forward Gaming on 3 and 5. They're not for sure through yet. The difference is Forward versus Mineski now is the deciding factor. A draw would allow Forward to make it through in the lower bracket. Mineski would then be eliminated. And For the Dream are 1 and 7 right now. At least they've got a game out of that. I'm glad they at least won a game, but they are eliminated. In Group B right now, Fnatic 6 and 0. At the top of the standings. Chaos 4 and 2, Ninjas in Pyjamas 4 and 2, compLexity are now 2 and 4 and have given themselves a lifeline with that one game in that match against Alliance, who are 1 and 5, as are Team Aster. Aster and Alliance at the bottom of that group. I guess you could have probably made a good argument for either of those to be in the bottom two, Will.
Yeah, I think that, for me anyways, Aster being at the bottom is not that big of a surprise, but I felt like it could have been a coin flip between compLexity, Alliance, and even Chaos,
Right.
Like Misery said, he didn't know how they were going to do.
Yep.
Scrims kind of went poorly.
Yep. I mean, NIP have dropped games against teams you probably thought they shouldn't do.
Yeah, they've had more 1-1s than they should have. They played 3 series. They've had 2 1-1s. And that's Group B is actually still completely up in the air. No teams have been guaranteed to get through. I assume Fnatic most likely will. But, I mean, Alliance, Aster, they still have 2 series to play each. They could go 4-0 and be 4 and 5 and do, like, the turnaround and be like, oh, they're the mid-pack team. So it's easy to count them out right now when you look at their lack of wins. But one of them could jump up, and I think the more likely one to do it is maybe Alliance. They've got to play Chaos and they've got to play Aster. So if those games go well, Alliance can jump right up, and maybe Cole will be at the bottom, or maybe, I mean, KS or Ninja could stop winning games and also be towards the bottom, and maybe we'll see some crazy 4-win playoff matches. Who knows?
Fnatic guaranteed to go through, just not in the top or bottom. We don't know where they're going to go through right then. But that's the only thing we've decided in Group B is that they're definitely through to the playoffs. So all to play for as far as Group B is concerned. And we're going to find out what part of the story that takes, because the next match in this group is just around the corner. We're going to take a break right now and let the players recoup. But when we come back, we will have Fnatic versus compLexity. Massive game for both teams. We'll see you soon.
Previously on ESL One Birmingham.
What a dream way to begin the day.
And now we continue. Get ready for the Birmingham Brawl.
It's time! There is no place like home. Universe goes down. Look at the swing. Asher coming in with the combo. GG is called.
ESL One Birmingham 2019.
Think he can't shine through the dark? Stream a Roshan Steele in high resolution? And record a play for the history books? Watch this. Think he can't make a victory go viral? Watch this. Think a support can't be in the spotlight? Watch this. On Intel Core i7, a legend can rewrite his own legacy. Game, record, stream without compromise on Intel Core i7.
Remember where it started. Your first experiences. Remember where you came from. The journey you traveled. The journey you love. Remember where it started. And imagine where it will go. Rise on.
No matter what your passion is, soccer, rugby, racing, or esports, become a part of the experience with the moments we deliver.
ESL One is brought to you in part by Intel, Mercedes-Benz, Vodafone, DHL, Mountain Dew Amp Game Fuel, Asus, and PaySafeCard. Vodafone presents the pre-match.
A big match to finish off our second day here at ESL One Katowice, our fourth and final series between Fnatic and compLexity. Big for both teams, as I said, but for very different reasons. Fnatic need this one to guarantee themselves a spot in the top of the bracket in the playoffs. compLexity need at least a point out of this one if they're going to move through to the bracket in any form at all. Now, before we get on to talking about these two teams with our panel members Blitz and Purge, Shiva earlier on today was busy running around like a busy bee trying to find every single player she could find. And let's find out who she's caught from compLexity.
Hello, I am here with Miracle from compLexity. Miracle, how are you doing this afternoon?
Pretty great. Like, Poland's really nice. I really enjoyed staying in this country, in this place.
I am very glad to hear it. I do have to talk to you about yesterday, though, and I think your results, you came 1-3 in yesterday's games. How did you and your team deal with the way yesterday went?
Actually, we were not exactly like the happiest, but like because we won the last game, and usually the last game of the day is like pretty important for like motivation and all that stuff. So like we're still like pretty motivated, looking forward to like going to day 2 like today. So yeah, I think like we'll do fine. Shouldn't be a problem.
Sometimes you also need a little bit of a warm-up before you can, really take off, because you guys haven't been together for that long with this composition of 5 players, right?
Yep, correct. I think we came together during like November last year, and like we've been playing together for like a few months now. Like we're starting to get used to each other. Like we are like trying our best to actually find like the best place out for us. So yeah, that's all I have to say actually.
All right, I got one final question, because today you're facing Fnatic, you're facing Alliance, I think, as well. 2 series today. What are your expectations? How will you do?
I would think that we will do really well. Like I think the laning stage is especially very important for us. Like yesterday, like not even like I think in 3 out of 4 of the games we didn't really do really well in our lanes. So like we're looking to do that better today and like win all the games today as best as we can.
All right, well, that sounds good. It sounds like you got it all worked out. I'm looking forward to seeing you guys play, and wish you good luck in today's games.
Thank you.
Thank you. Back to you, Paul.
Thanks, Shiva. Yes, catching up there with Miracle from compLexity. They've taken 2 games so far here at ESL One Katowice. 2 perhaps surprising games in some ways. They should have won the first game against Alliance. They ended up winning the second game. And they also took a game off NIP yesterday. So 2 games in the bag. It's not enough to guarantee them a place in the playoffs, but a win here against Fnatic almost would get them through to the playoffs. Purge and Blitz are waiting to give you their thoughts ahead of this game. So, gents, let's get into it. Difficult to measure compLexity, Kevin, right now in terms of where they are, because as Miracle said in the interview, they've only been together for a little while. They've played 50 games together as a 5. It's not really enough to assess where they are, is it?
It's generally not. They've got honeymoon period going for them. They've got a couple wins under the belt, but not a huge amount. So I think their morale's got to be lower, especially going up against Fnatic, but at least they have some experience playing against those players. But I think it's definitely going to be a bit Fnatic favored. It's easy to say.
Are they moving in the right direction, Will?
Fnatic?
compLexity, as an organization, as a set of Dota players.
I don't know about that. After Kyle got kicked, things sort of happened. They've just been happening in the downward direction.
For 3 years.
It's been some time now. Like, look, I agree with Kevin in the sense of like, yeah, you got to give them more time. But as an analyst, I can only judge what's in front of me, right? Yep. And so far, the results just have not been there. Consistently, they're underperforming. They don't even look like the 4th best team in NA at times. Like, I think even Team, EE's team that formed like a week ago made it to the minor or something like that. Like, that's what I can judge, right? That team has also not been allowed.
So what's wrong with the team? What do they need to improve?
As funny as it is, I think that they probably need a little bit more discipline I'm probably being a little bit harsh here. They probably do need a little bit more time to gel together. When you move people from like a lot of different cultures, I mean, you've got one American, one Swede, 2 dudes from SEA. Like, it's gonna take a little bit of time, I think, for them to gel and stuff like that. But at the same time, like, you know, how many tournaments more do you give this core before you're like, well, should we rethink this?
Yeah. And we're talking about a top-tier organization now, backed by the Dallas Cowboys. It's not, you know, it's not the old compLexity where they were trying to get through and just see another day. This is a top-tier organization, and they want top-tier results, surely.
Of course. I think that I saw some Reddit comment where somebody was like, you're a professional organization. You shouldn't be losing to guys that can't afford boot camps, that have to play online, that just formed a stack at the last second. Like, there's some pride in that.
Yeah,
you know,
but sure, but also I would also point out, and just playing devil's advocate, there's also loyalty involved. I mean, it's great to see a big organization loyal to the players and giving them enough of a chance,
Is
isn't it?
there loyalty? I mean, like,
Well, they could just kick everyone and go out and buy 5 great Dota players, couldn't they?
Hypothetically, that sounds expensive, though. I mean, not that they're probably not paying their players, but if you're talking about loyalty, they've definitely shuffled things since the loyal stack of Kyle plus extras. So it's, you know, they've kind of been one of those teams that's going through like the tumble cycle on the dryer for a while, and they haven't quite shot out the right combination just yet. And it's still taking time, and I think it's too early to judge them. They're not bombing out. If they were bombing out, it'd be like, definitely recycle. But, you know.
I mean, they've shown some promising results here and there, haven't they?
They
Again,
get wins
in this
sometimes.
tournament as well.
Yeah, they qualify to things sometimes, but it definitely feels more inconsistent than Cole has felt in the past. But it's not like by a massive amount less. So it's probably like par for the course for the owners. But yeah, they do have such a big support structure that feels wrong for them not to be a tier 1 team immediately upon the bio.
Yep. Tough opponent in this game as well. They've been the best team in this group by far, I think some would say, Fnatic, and they're standing at 6-0, which says everything about them that we need to know right now. They're the only team that have definitely qualified from this group. They want to do it by going through at the top. They don't want to be playing secret in the top first semi-final of the upper bracket. That's what's on their mind now, surely.
I mean, do you really want to play Gambit either? Like, there's no...
Well, I mean, you've got to play one or the other, and I think I'd pick Gambit over secret right now.
There's no easy choice there.
No.
It's the thing, but I think they want to just continue to win because that's what winners do. This is a team that theoretically they should 2-0. They've been 2-0ing everybody else. Why not? Just keep that train going.
Sure. And in terms of the way they've been playing, Kevin, they haven't really adapted to anyone, have they? They've just played Fnatic way. They played what they wanted to play.
Yeah, I mean, their picks aren't that weird. They're still picking like some heroes that are more exclusive to them. Like,
the Pango is probably the obvious one, isn't it? Because no one else is really playing it on.
That's not really true. Maybe not here on stream so far, but a lot of teams were playing it during WePlay. Like at the start of the tournament, it was like every other game would have a Pango in for various reasons. So they're dabbling with what they like, but they're also getting solidified with some of their consistent picks like Elder Titans. So, you know, if you're a good team and you're winning games, or identify what you're doing that's good, don't necessarily hard lock into it, but still remain a little flexible so that you still have the potential to outdraft your opponents. I think that's important to have. Find what you like, and then keep playing Dota well.
Well, is it too early for SEA fans to get carried away with this lineup, thinking this could finally be the one that takes them to some big titles?
I mean, I think this team has a ton of talent. Like, I've long thought that Abed is just like a top 5 mid player. He's so talented. Ice, his resume speaks for himself. I think they've surrounded themselves with the right type of players too. Like, you have some superstars, you have some egoless guys that are just going to sit in the back, chill, do their own thing. I think this is a really strong team. But at the same time, I need to watch them play the best of the best. Like, if Group B is a little bit easier, well, we'll see what happens when they have to play one of those Gambits, one of those secrets. Even playing against an OG, that would give me a better barometer of where they're at.
Yeah, okay. I mean, I asked Kyle early on. I mean, we pointed out this was the inconsistent group. Fnatic are probably the least inconsistent of these teams in here because they've been hitting that top 5, top 6 kind of mark, even in majors as well. They've done very well in both of the majors so far. What's going to help them break through that barrier, though, gents? How are they going to make that jump from finishing 5th, 6th at a major and doing okay to finishing 2nd at a major or 3rd at a major or even winning a major?
The obvious distinction is that if they can consistently get to that mid-high tier, what they have to do is be able to outplay and outdraft and out-strategize and out-late game the best teams in the world. And that is such a big hurdle to accomplish when there's so many top-tier competitive teams. And if you, I mean, I looked at the DPC rankings this morning, I was like, oh, all the teams I expect to be there are there. And then I went down the list like 8, and I'm like, there's Team Liquid. Okay, never mind. There's another big dog that's just waiting to pounce.
Yeah.
And you have to beat all these teams consistently, or you have to hope that they knock each other out, and you'll have to play like 1 or 2 and beat them. So I mean, they're starting this tournament really well. If they can keep it up, stay in the meta, and not have any problems, not have any confidence issues, then they can be a top team.
Yeah, and this is a very good opportunity, Will, ESL One Katowice, for a team like Fnatic with the likes of Liquid and Virtus Pro not here. It's a chance for them to go, actually, yeah, we can win tournaments. We can win big premier tournaments.
Yeah, I mean, being able to beat Secret, Gambit, OG, it's no easy feat for any team. I mean, we saw when VP had to play against Secret twice. It was rough. Secret also beat LGD at the last ESL that we saw. Like, this is a world-beating team. Yeah. If Fnatic can perform against them here, win it all, that would be really something spectacular.
Yeah. Is it possible, Kevin?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, maybe I'm just looking at a 6-0 and being like, oh man, they're amazing. They can do it. This is the time. But they've always been the team that kind of goes up and down. It's not the same roster. You know, they've got 2 out of the 5 same players as last season. But I think, again, they have such good players. They absolutely can be on the trajectory. And the players they do have are some of the most stable by far. All of these guys, DJ, Ice, Abed. I mean, Abed and DJ alone, insanely stable. MP, we talked about as being stable. He had a bit of an iffy Weaver game earlier, but maybe just a bit of a fluke game, and it wasn't even that bad. And as well, Jabs and Ice, like they're also consistent. They're also high skilled. Surely this has got to be the dream one finally.
Yeah, I mean, I think SEA fans are thinking that, right? And I know a lot of people have messaged me in the past and said, yeah, like forget everyone else this season. Fnatic are the real deal. They're the ones that are going to finally bring glory to SEA. I should point out, of course, that Mineski did win a major on the previous season, so it's not like SEA can't.
Who was on that team, Paul?
Can't win it. Well, Ice.
That's right.
That's the link. That's the man, isn't it?
One of them.
The torchbearer.
And Jebs is on there too, right?
Yes, he was, yeah.
So 2 out of the 5?
Yeah.
So the same guys? Okay, yep.
But arguably this team's better.
Yeah, because they also grabbed like the 2 all-star players from a different team, Fnatic, and, well, it's more like they took the other 2 joined. They're real good. They're like the weakest player on the team on paper is maybe MP. And he's still really super good, yeah.
Okay, it's interesting to see whether this is going to go. Draft underway then for this final series of the evening. Thank you for your patience. I know it's been a long day, and we thank you for staying with us for quality Dota 2 all day long. Hopefully we'll get a great series to finish things off between these 2 teams. Drafting-wise, Fnatic have been fairly meta, Will, so far. Haven't done anything massively crazy. We talked about the Pango, obviously, because Ice has been so strong, but as Kevin pointed out, it's not like it's completely out of the meta.
No, I like the way that they draft. It's very stable. They're giving Abed heroes that allow him to win the game for them, which is what I really like. I've seen previous iterations of teams that he's been on, where I'll see him like play Viper or DK. I mean, his DK is really good. I think that game it was like 9-0 and 14. But like when I watch that guy play Viper, like why? Viper's like the nullifying mid hero. I want this guy to be on a playmaker, somebody that can scale throughout the game, that can continue to do stuff on the map.
I was going to predict an Elder Titan pick because it would have been very obvious.
There's Coddle still.
A bit too obvious, that's why it's been banned.
That doesn't look like they play Coddle, genuinely. They have not picked Coddle in their...
are you talking about Fnatic?
Yes.
Yeah, not a Coddle team.
They do ban it. Maybe it has too many weaknesses. Like that, I do see it get punished in the laning stage. It's exploitable potentially. They just don't play it.
It's just that ult.
What do you mean it's old?
His ult is so good.
Oh, it's ult. Oh, I thought you said he's old. Okay. He is an old man.
He's very old. He's older than me.
Is he?
Just. By a year.
He literally keeps the light. That's gotta be old, dude.
21st.
That's another hero they've been picking a lot.
Yep. And again, they play it. This one is played all over the place. They literally have 5 tiny players in the team.
Lots of teams kind of dabbling tiny in occasionally for lane control stuff. You can toss back cores or heroes you're ganking. You become a burst damage hero later. It's just he's very multi-purpose.
Fun fact for Fnatic, actually. 4 of their 5 players, it's in their most played heroes of the last month.
How big is that most played heroes list? Oh, in the month.
I mean, it's only 8 heroes or so each.
Most played.
But it's inside their top 8.
Like that's
for 4 heroes, though.
Bullshit stat. There's probably only like 8 heroes that players rotate through on an average month.
But yeah, 4 of their players have played it in the last month. Only MP has not played it in the last 4 weeks, but has played it a lot before, of course.
What do you think about this Phoenix Will?
That's
Don't see that opening anymore.
Yeah, people don't really do that very often.
A little bit at We Play 11 days ago.
Yeah,
For
nothing
the
here.
minor, Cole played it, opened it pretty quick. They picked it at Dream League a couple times.
What was their opener then?
During the minor, it was they had second pick and they picked Phoenix Brew.
I see.
And another time they had Phoenix and Brew on the same team. They were picked slightly separated. Another game they picked Phoenix Brew.
They don't core this though, do they?
Don't know. I would have to investigate the
core
replays.
Phoenix team. It's a Z-Freak hero usually.
That's a nice jug. I think, Sven has the easiest stun animation in the game to dodge for him, and more importantly, you can spin, hit the egg.
Has Sven won a game yet, by the way?
I hope not.
He was 8-0, 0-8 this morning, by the way.
compLexity picked him 2 of those games.
So they skewed those stats.
It's a biased stat looking at this match. Okay, no.
Let me go and find it. I shall find that out whilst we watch the rest of the drive.
I'm just not super confident on Sven right now myself. I think he's better as a support, as like an aura builder, but as a core, I just don't like him very much.
I know you've been hating on him backstage.
I have. I keep hating on
You
him.
think that you just said he was like
guys?
a worse CK, right?
He's a far worse CK who's not banned.
What's
yes.
Guys, Sven's been picked 11 times in the first 2 days, and he has 1 win.
Told you.
Well, he's about to have 1 win.
1.5.
Yeah, that's pretty rough, isn't it? Oof.
It's really bad.
Yeah, I didn't think it was that bad.
I mean, they nerfed Warcry a little bit in this last patch, actually, wasn't it? Was it the Warcry nerf, or was it
no,
Strength
it's
Gain? Strength Gain? Let me Google this. Dota 2.
I only wrote down he's had 4 nerfs in this patch.
Well, I mean, I'm just going to say that he was still valued last patch because he was. But since then, he got a Great Cleave, small nerf, Warcry. Movement speed is worse earlier, which is kind of irrelevant. And then the shield capacity has been slightly reduced. It's like in God Strength cooldown up by 20 seconds is maybe big. Because then it's not as easy to like just God Strength Warcry your team.
This would be like the most value silencer pick if he was in meta.
Yeah, he just played earlier today.
Was he? Did he win?
No, they got pooped on, I think. It was Mineski that picked him.
Ah, was it against Secret?
I don't remember. They picked him with an Enigma, I remember. They would like Black Hole, Global Silence every kill against the core. But they very much lost.
They very much lost.
I kind of like Bane Sven. That's cool, actually, if you lane them together. Because then you can increase the stun duration of the hammer.
Do you know who won with Sven earlier, by the way?
Who?
Asta.
Oh.
Oh, yeah, that was a game against an IP.
The only team that have won with Sven at this event have been Asta.
I saw that game.
And they've only won 1 game. What do you know?
So ban-wise, Magnus, Pangolier, Troll, Void. Void's getting some bans this tournament.
Yeah, he has quite a lot of second
6.
phase bans.
I've seen him pick quite a bit. Yeah, he's always in that first phase of the second phase,
Yeah.
or first pick of the second phase. Response-wise, I mean, compLexity has pretty good team fight right now. They've got BKB, Piercing, Stun, really strong laners right now.
I would like Oracle or Silencer.
Why is Silencer so good? Just to stop like egg or something like that?
It's nice against Phoenix and in lane, and you can, if anybody gets gripped halfway across the map, like your juggle will always be able to just spin off right after you global.
Yeah.
But they take CM.
And you could stop if you last word him, his dive doesn't go through. That's a good point. CM for tempo, mana on Jug is nice, mana on Tiny is nice.
What's Jug's win rate in this tournament?
He's actually doing okay. He's the most picked in this tournament. He's been picked 14 times before this one. This is his 15th pick. But his win rate suffered quite significantly. He's 28.5% right now.
It's not great.
No. Ember Spirit, on the other hand, picked 13 times. Is 77% win rate.
That hero's looked really good.
Yeah.
He's benefited from all the little item changes.
Yeah.
And the other one that's looked really bad is Grimstroke's had 8 games and lost 7.
Ugh.
That hero has been progressively nerfed.
Yeah.
Like, over and over and over
Yeah,
again.
the ones that stand out are Grimstroke and Sven. Sven is 9% win rate with 11 picked. Grimstroke is 12.5% on 8.
I mean, if you compare like Inkswell level 1 with what it was when the hero came out to now, it's got to be like 4 times better when it came out. Like for stun duration and damage.
Surge, Slardar, stun plus like one more thing. I can't remember what it was.
What are you referring to?
Because it made you
what it would do basically.
Yeah.
I mean, it would stun for like a second and a half.
It was like Pugna. You could only
like 200 damage.
You could only AoE cast 2, right?
On
the Inkswell.
What do you mean AoE cast?
You had to, you couldn't, what was it, like you couldn't do physical damage to him during the time?
Oh yeah, I totally forgot about that part.
There
I
was-
forgot that exists. You couldn't target him.
There was like,
Is that the original?
Yeah,
when
you,
it-
like, it was
When
a
it first
targeted
came
thing.
out,
It was like Dark Willow's Shadow Realm, I think. You could like cast it and then teleport home.
It was,
I forgot about that part too.
there was, God, that hero like on first release.
Was harsh.
That one ability was
was
just the most
harsh.
incredible thing I've ever
That was
seen.
his ult, basically.
It was hard to decide which of his first skills to get because
Yes.
they were all so good
Yeah.
in so many different situations.
How
Like,
how can I bully the other team?
I feel like I could roll dice on which skills to get on the hero and you'd still be completely fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could skill it whatever.
There
way
was
you
no going wrong with that hero.
Yeah,
It was so
want.
good.
Will, this is all you have to say about it. Even I could play it.
Mm.
I did.
Have you?
I did play when it first
Against
came
what,
out. yeah.
babies?
Yeah. Ursa is 7 out of 7, by the way.
Strong hero.
Yeah,
S-
at
Still
this
got
event
nerfed.
so far. Winter Wyvern is 5 out of 5. OD is 3 out of 3, as is the Undying, as is the Slardar. Some other high win rates so far. Bane's 83% off 6. Elder Titan is 80% off 10 games. Pangolier is 9 games so far with 77% win rate, as is Leshrac. The only one over 10 games with high rate is Ember Spirit with 13 games, 76.9%.
You know what I'm seeing some of these numbers is that the heroes that have low win rates are heroes that were good like 2 patches ago
Yeah.
and have received nerfs since then. It's like, I think it's got to be a combination of like the nerfs and also just players get used to playing against those heroes.
Sure.
Ooh, that's a Timber.
It's,
Ember's been very good here so far. It's played 5-1-4.
I mean, they can't damage it very well, I guess. The disables are easy to load absorb,
Yeah. If you have something like a hood as well, the majority of the damage is magic.
except for like arrow, like Nightmare into arrow is good. And I guess with CM, you have extra mana, so you can just buy armor items or mana items.
The cool thing about having a Tiny on your team is like you don't need that many playmakers. You can pick a hero like Timber to just sort of farm, let him frontline,
Just
and then
like
just have your
dominate
Tiny.
one lane.
Yeah, just like have your Tiny go around, do stuff on the map.
They also use that as a flex as well. So they've got some options here with their 5th pick, I guess. They could go a couple of different ways.
Oh, they banned Meepo.
They're laughing.
That's
Timber
nice.
has been, I want to say it's been Abed playing it.
You can't not ban Meepo against Abed when you're
Yeah.
complexity.
Yeah, no,
As the
absolutely.
memes would be way too strong
They
afterwards.
would, yes. Yeah, the Timber's been played by MP on the majority of times, but obviously we know Ice can play it as well.
Zach having a good
It's a
time.
Kunkka. It's a nice
There.
counter to the Mirana too.
Okay. Abed Conquer.
It kind of like limits their damage potential with the boat buff. Just the disable setup stuff is going to help with
Yeah,
Timber
wait,
as well.
what? So they're running a Tiny support.
Lots of people are doing that.
Yeah. No, they've played it all over the place. But today they have played it off lane, mid, carry, and now support.
Yep, it's based
Just
on the
today.
matchups pretty much. Like,
Which just proves the point of the fact that it's a great first pick for this team because it's so flexible.
yep. Monkey King will give complexity
Monkey
much
King
better
into a Timbersaw.
lane setup. Yeah, it's not that weird. I mean, it's you can hit him, you can get the bonus damage, and you can get lifesteal pretty easy.
Okay.
Maybe I'll have trouble later, I guess. But
Any concerns, Blitz, with Fnatic's draft?
God, I need to see it one more time.
It's always tough when
No, I think their team fight's pretty good. They have good catch.
Yeah.
I think that X is going to be a really good spell this game. It's nice against everybody on the side of Cole because, like, for example, if you use it on the Phoenix, it forces things like early eggs or inopportune eggs. I like the lineup. I think the Timbersaw pick was really nice too.
Yeah, 4th pick Timber. Kevin, any thoughts?
I have no idea what was picked. It's way too long.
We opened with the Tiny. They're going to play that in the as a support.
Tiny CM, Timber, Jug, and what was their 5th again?
Their 5th was Kunkka.
I like that one. I like that draft. I just feel like Kunkka, they have enough like burst damage, they have enough tankiness that they can just play with their food basically and continuously like X torrent and look for openings where they finally get a kill. So I like Fnatic's lineup better, and it's safer to say that because they're 6-0.
Yeah.
Easy. I'm the right predictor. Maybe.
some confidence in there, Kevin. I like that. Let's bring in our commentary duo for our final series of the evening. Gents, we've got an interesting matchup for different reasons. compLexity really do need the point, at least a point out of this series, but Fnatic have looked so strong so far.
Yeah, they look absolutely amazing. You may not have the confidence there, but I've got the king of confidence sitting right next to me, Kyle. You know this team. You know a lot of their players back to front compLexity. You know they need the points, but at the same time, we've seen a hell of a lot of Fnatic, and damn, they look good.
Indeed, and looking at this game, I feel like they have a similar to the series they played against Chaos. Their draft's just so much easier to execute. It's a lot more natural to play. You know, you're gonna hit X's, then there's a Kunkka, there's a CM. Like everyone's gonna be able to spam spells. You can always stay on map, and it's just Limp's gonna have to do incredibly well in the mid matchup, and that's what I'd like to focus on. As this game gets underway, because I think that if you end up trading against Abed's Kunkka here, you're just... Who makes plays on compLexity? Like, Death, rotating, like you have a ton of single target, your team fight is limited and very cooldown dependent. It's the egg and the Monkey King ult, but you don't actually have anything to defend the egg. That's the problem.
Yeah, like, if you can get the Nightmare into a long-range arrow, like this is kind of your initiation, and that mid lane matchup. I want to see how Miracle's actually going to be an influence in this game too.
I just don't like this Mirana. A lot of the NA teams.
Is this just because you've watched Forward playing it so much?
Yeah, it feels like a hero when you don't know what to pick. So you're just like, oh, we'll get Mirana, but you don't have a natural way to pressure objectives here. And more importantly, there isn't the real frontliner. To an extent, Sven can be that, but. You don't want to be relied upon as a Sven to do the initiation. It's like Adam sleep into arrow and Sven stun. Like the whole concept of a team fight for Cole is going to have to be just a stun lock on some target. And it's just very difficult to deal with. You look at all the cores of Fnatic, they're all going to be incredibly tanky. You've got Jug who can just spin through any of this magic damage. Healing Ward and Boat to provide sustain. Any sort of long and drawn-out team fight will favor Fnatic.
Miracle, not where he wants to be. DJ's already got himself a tree, and Miracle's taken so much damage. Like, we're not even at the first lanes reaching each other, and he's already at 155, and he's burning the south.
Yeah, forcing
this is a CM and a tiny harassing, so the opposite has to happen on bottom lane. Like, harassment into Ice. Looks like 3-4-3. Adam moved into position to try and get a courier snipe against the Kunkka.
Seen compLexity do this in at least 3 of the games I've watched, and I've been watching a lot of their matches. I don't believe this is going to pay off.
You look at Abed's quick buy. Like he's not planning on a salve coming up anytime soon.
The other thing, it's one thing if you're already like a crap support hero, right? But Bane is picked primarily to dominate lane from level 1 onwards. You're walking around with 308 move speed, 62 base damage, and 700 health, and Adam's game plan is to sit here and wait for the courier. He hasn't shown, folks.
He hasn't shown. He's also waiting for the courier to come back. Like, it has to go up and then back because there's no observer ward in the lane for vision.
Yeah, just
not what they really want to have happen, but TP's up now, so 3-4-3 will join Miracle up on that top lane. I do have to say that mount does look absolutely amazing, so even if the Mirana pick doesn't make full sense, at least it looks pretty while he does it. It's actually a really nice view. 3-4-3 in real trouble. Jabs coming in. He's a half body block. Miracle, the arrow, he actually ends up splitting Fnatic. Looks like they could see it coming. Maybe it's because they had vision in the lane.
Yeah, bottom lane is going to be going okay for compLexity for some time, but at a certain point, Timbersaw, like level 3, level 4, you start to pressure Sven, and as soon as you're 6, Death will have a very hard time even standing in this lane at all. So it's just a tough game. Really, what is the Timber counter? How do you kill Timbersaw's compLexity in this game unless you're able to 4-on-1? But even, we'll see.
Like, Limp's had a good time in mid. Like, it's 13-3 up against a 6-0 Kunkka. Kunkka normally with Tidebringer having a better CSing time, but it's that zoning harassment that can just be provided by this range melee hero of the Monkey King. And the longer he just takes his fight, like, even if he does damage, there's a regen rune up on top. If Abed gets this is actually really nice for him. That's exactly what he does get.
Yeah, Limp's the incredible laner, as anyone in Dota will tell you. He just tends to fall off a bit as you get into the mid-late game. But this is a matchup that he's certainly favored in. I think it's more of like a 60-40, but Limp making it more of like a 3-1.
Does this feel efficient to you? Z-Freak and Death, they actually tank the creep wave in the lane. There's no pulling it up to the side camp. There's no allowing any kind of reaction time from Fnatic. They just take the camp, but it also reduces the efficiency, and they're
See
going
that,
mid.
yeah.
Limp's in a lot of trouble. DJ's rotation, he's got the Avalanche to revive this chain stun onto Limp. He wants to slap down to get the life in, but it won't. Or will it? He's into the trees. 22 HP, starts the salve up, making sure the DJ can't just tree toss him. Tries to dodge it with the mischief. It will not happen. So the salve ends up getting cancelled.
And that answers your question right there, Toby. That is the downside of backlanding as 2 heroes, because it enables the safe lane support to just move over. And because compLexity doesn't have a lane ward in that area, that was a fraction of a second from being a kill onto Limp. And this is the lane going really well for Cole, so lucky to avoid that. Up top, this TP forced from the Bane now means that the Jug CM, they're going to be able to pressure Miracle. He's down to just the 1 leap and no boots, so
I may even...
got to be careful.
Okay, now when Frostbite is still only level 1, not enough control time for the Juggernaut to move over. But Miracle's living life on the edge. It's like, well, he knows in a minute he can go and Shrine. But that's still a long time away, and Jabs is staying on the back of him. A Fairy Fire is the only thing that can keep this Mirana alive if Jabs can find the opening for a Frostbite. But it won't happen. Maybe instead you keep your eyes on that pull happening on bottom, but there's no heavy rotation from the mids. There's nothing.
Yep.
And Miracle's just limping. It's 3-4-3 is bringing him a tango. Okay.
Yeah, Morano's just... I would have preferred to see him just TP or even deny himself at this point. He'll be trying to farm under tower, but he's quite low. CM may look to now get on top of the Bane. Z-Freak chasing DJ in the jungle, but up top, you got to spin out on Adam. This will probably be the first
trouble.
blood.
And it will be. MP's the one to claim it, working with Jabs. Creepwave got him a lot of information. Miracle will finally get that salve, but it's taking a long time, and now they're going to get both the 5-minute bounty runes, but DJ's coming in for the bottoms. They could actually claim all 4 bounty runes now, Fnatic. They will at least, yep, they're going to get all 4 bounties. compLexity cannot afford this, literally.
Yeah, their one bright spot, of course, is Limp. He is still dominating his lane. Kunkka, Abed just constantly pressured. Not really much he can do because Kunkka, you know, he's one of the best mid laners in Dota, but you suffer against melee heroes that have heavy harass.
They're going to try and kill bottom. Tossing back this Sven. Won't matter any kind of extra move speed, but the stun's already used. Oh, wait. No, you've still got the Avalanche. Only toss was used by DJ.
Okay. Mid lane. Yeah, this is a bright spot. Like
in the words of the Dota 2 reporter, we just accept this and then we move on.
Yeah, see, the only downside is that, yeah, sure, you're beating Abed, but he's still having no troubles, like, acquiring levels. And Kunkka's not a hero that requires some great start to be effective. All he needs is level 6. And you look at the heroes on compLexity. If there's no Bane behind a target getting comboed, an X mark into the alt stun is just a death. And Miracle, what?
He just double leapt aggressively underneath the tower against MP, where he only had his catapult there to protect him. And no support was nearby. In fact, 343 was doing a pull on the wave. So the Creepwaves weren't there. On bottom lane, Avalanche kicking in, Death. He's got 7 stick charges, so a lot more life. DJ's going to burn the Mango, just dragging him back. Now 10 stick charges. Death can survive a little longer, voiding the Chakram and the Timber Chain device. So is Sven. He may be heavy with all that armor, but he's quick. And with the help of Limp, into mischief. He's trying to dodge DJ's toss or any kind of combination, but Z-Freak will finish the job. DJ will drop. Z-Freak's the man to claim him. And they keep Sven alive for the moment. But while that happens, they then get aggressive on top. 343. Nightmare tries to protect him. Miracle. Well, maybe they have enough life. No, they don't. With the Starfall, MP will be the sacrifice. So a 1-for-1 trade-off. It's called for support. Miracle would love more. Throws the arrow out, but Jabs is already moving too quickly through the tree line.
Oh, DJ.
There's still a 1-1 combo on the Avalanche toss. It's not enough damage to kill Miracle unless he can get a swing in too.
He's got a bottle that just came out to him. But this is a really rough game for the Miracle.
They want to kill mid. Stormbolt's flying towards Abed. He's got Torrent available. 343 is nearby too. He'll start with the Brain Sap, but they couldn't reposition. And not in range for a Nightmare. But up on top, they're in position for this. Miracle tossed up. Does he have a leap? He's got one into the trees, but nothing more to give. Burnt them all so aggressively previously that he goes down.
This is the problem with this Mirana carry. You look at this game, there's so many disables on the side of Fnatic. He's just going to get hunted. And, you know, as a core, this hero is fine if you're able to stay ahead of the game and really rely. It's like a Weaver, a knockoff Weaver. You have more utility, but you have less innate survivability, you want to be in a position where you can just sort of play the off lane, play the safe lane by yourself, and anytime you sniff out some trouble, you survive. But against this much stun, it's just not possible. Even with 3 leaps up, he's still going to end up in a position where he's going to go down there. And as you can see, Death forced to abandon the bottom lane. Limp's going to move down here, but remember, this is the top net worth on call. He wants to be able to pressure and win a lane. Against Timber, he's just going to be getting 50-50.
It's even up against Ice, like on that Timbersaw. You know the way he plays the lane. It's always this defensive kind of posturing, shows his presence, but always keeps the lane pushed. And Timbersaw is an expert at this. So yeah, Monkey King, you can find your farm, but you'll never find a kill.
And this is the issue, because now DJ just says, okay, there's no more Monkey King here. I'll just camp middle and get free gold and experience. Fnatic just looks to play top. They know bottom.
Working with a Nightmare against Arbed. 3-4-3 doesn't have much more to give, even with a Starfall for Z-Freak. He's going to arrive, throwing out those level 2 launch Fire Spirits and Limp, even into the Wukong's command. It's not a bad one. Arbed and MP caught on the edge of it. Mirana couldn't get much more off leaping forward. They need to get this kill into Jabs. 3-4-3 and Arbed are already down, so Jabs will join them.
Nice. That was big from Cole, but they find kills, and I don't mean to... The problem is the gold disparity is still moving towards Fnatic. Even though they're finding kills, compLexity needs to try and get a way to get these the slays into objectives, into pressure on the map. And MP, ooh, just barely jukes the arrow.
But he'll spin and TP out. There should be enough time. No stuns. Oh, okay. Spin actually wore off a little bit faster. 3-4-3 died in the bottom river. He actually TP'd underneath the tower and went south because actually there's no observer wall that saw DJ rotating over, so he just ran into the river and died.
Well, he was dragging 2 creep waves. You can see them actually diving behind the tier 2 tower. That's why Fnatic is having a difficult time finishing this off. So in a sense, he gave his life for that delay, but because it's a Timbersaw with maxed out armor, it doesn't matter. He just tanks it anyway, and they finish it off as just the heroes.
It would mean more if that delay was able to secure the kill on MP.
Yeah, you can see there's a lot of stacks coming out on the side of Cole, but who? Is Sven gonna take these? Like, when?
And Ice sees them. The Observer Ward's watching the stacks being done. Sven's got 3 points up in Greater Cleave, so he wants to. He's got God Strength available. And he'll burn it right now to try and get these stacks. But you need something. Z-Freak's been prepping this as much as he can. 5 stacks, you saw the numbers popping up just then.
Now Ice shows up. He has an Arcane Rune as well. There's nothing you can do to stop a Timbersaw, and they'll just look to keep connecting. This is just a really smart job by Fnatic where they swap lanes, and something you'll see a lot of the top teams do is always maintaining a presence in at least one hero in each lane. So DJ's just been soaking up mid, now he's bottom, and Ice is going to look to continue to try and pressure lanes that still have that tier 1 available to take down.
Limp's actually trying to, like, for a moment I thought with that leap forward he was going to go in for Ice, but there's not much he really wants from it. Ice is burning Arcane Rune, so he got everything he kind of wants, but this, oh no, combinations need to be able to connect. It's not a long stun time, 0.8 seconds. But without Miracle's arrow connecting, they don't get the follow-up into Ice, but there is a denial of the tier 1 tower.
Yeah, and it's just really fun. Like, Abed's been quiet this game, but it's more about just his movement and the area of the map he's playing. It's reminiscent of mid 1, where he has an unfavorable mid matchup, but then he just looks to get involved. And even though his net worth isn't ideal, he's 3rd place on his team is now 4,000 gold ahead, and a product of this, it's because of where he's been playing on the map. compLexity can't do anything top. Bottom was just being stonewalled by a Timber. Now DJ sits under tower as Timber runs toward the mid lane. They're just applying pressure in all these lanes. All 3 tier 1s have already been taken by Fnatic.
Ice actually TPing down the bottom lane. Realizing there's pressure being applied by 3-4-3, the arrow flies forward. That will be a 5-second stun on the Tiny, but it's on the Tiny. He's got 1,300 HP. They can't get through it. And look at Jabs, the confidence. All right, run through, throw down the Crystal Nova. Can't get the Frostbite follow-up, but that's why they have a Torrent from a Kunkka, tossing Arbed in and find all the damage they need into 3-4-3. Even X marks spot just in case there's any shenanigans. And Ice in the meantime, with the help of that Observer Ward, which both Sentry Wards were not able to connect on from compLexity, he just aggressively moves forward and doesn't make compLexity feel safe. And in fact, he's even going to take the double Ancient stack that's there.
And look at where MP is farming in the meantime. He's already got a Yasha Treads. He's just in the enemy jungle all by his lonesome with no fear, because there's no method of BKB teleport cancellation until 3-4-3 gets his level 6.
There's your Stormbolt. Limp very early on for the Boundless Strike. He'll jump back up again, almost quelling blading the tree he was on. But Limp wisely bouncing, tree dancing away.
You can see the line being drawn by Jabs, just discussing like that's pretty much the box he wants to play in. Keep my team to the left of this line, but eat enough of Cole's Woods to continue to grow our advantage. So it's up to 5K complexity. You've got Egg online. So you see Zefrig looking to rush the Midas. I think if they're going to take this game, he's going to be absolutely enormous to make up for his Mirana carry's lack of damage. And Miracle understands he's actually going Yules, just full utility. He's going to look to farm with his Q instead of right clicks because he's just too far behind to make the Diffusal or Maelstrom rushing a reality.
And complexity needs something. There's so much on the line that they cannot afford to lose this game.
Fnatic know this is coming. This is a budget smoke with the Mirana Invis, but Fnatic are gathered on the high ground as 5.
At least a decent observer ward from 343 gets to be placed. There's no sentry in range of it. And actually, they smoke up and move out themselves now, Fnatic. Monkey King will be the primary target.
He sees them. Limp.
Can he move? Doesn't react in time, and with everything they're dropping on the Monkey King, Limp has no way to survive.
Look at the ward pattern that Fnatic has active. They have total vision in this dire side of the map, controlling at least 3/4 of it, just a straight line through the woods. And it's just easy to play from this position.
Fiend's grip is out, support's coming in from Fnatic. It's going to take a little bit of extra time, and Juggernaut will die before it can arrive, but now Arbed may feel confident just to get into this fight. Supernova is available, but Torrent, Ship, this is not good for Zefrig. So much damage, but the Nightmare buys him some time, but the Avalanche follows through! Oh, it was almost a great play from 343 to create the space for the Supernova, but so much support from Fnatic. Cleaving out 343, the arrow flies in, connects on Conker, now Limp into the Wukong command, and a 3-man slap down. That's what he wants, but they need an extra follow-up. 1, 2, 3, all go the way of complexity. Big kills coming in. Not to mention DJ's streak, it goes to Limp, it goes to propelling the Monkey King forward. But there is one man who was just making the trade.
Yeah, he's just farming mid this entire time, ice. So yeah, it's favorable for Cole, but Fnatic doing...
Zefrig?
He's got Egg. All right, just trying to keep that tier 2 alive. It's going to be put into deny range by Ice, it appears. Or will it be? Yeah, it's going to go deny range. Yeah, nice play, though, by Limp. He's been everywhere so far. Both of the advantageous skirmishes that Complexity have taken are on the backs of the rotations. But you got to be careful with the toss back.
Yeah, speaking of Limp, he jumped forward. He was looking for as many bounty runes as possible, but he moves so quickly, even though it's underneath that nice observer ward of Fnatic. He gets out to safety. Look at his movement across the map.
Yeah.
Everywhere you can possibly go, he needs to be.
But the concern is, look at how lax he's been to cross, or he hasn't crossed the ribbon. Complexity have played a very passive game, and you can see that in just the tower disparity. 4 dead thus far on their side of the map. Only that bottom tier 1 taken by Complexity, and it's the dead lane tower. So that's going to go down. The next engagement you're probably looking to take is around Roshan, but I don't know if Cole necessarily have the damage to take that for some time. So you need to be concerned that Fnatic actually looks to do it, because if you look at the amount of map control they have now, they've got that triad of wards in the dire top jungle. Very easy to defend in this area. They just camp here now as 4 heroes. Ice will look to play mid and connect later. And it's just it's so easy to play Radiant from this position. It's part of the reason we see it selected as overall first priority, because you just have an easier time controlling the valuable parts of the map.
Yeah, and this is what Fnatic has been doing so well throughout this entire tournament. And Complexity, they need to find an answer to it. Like, maybe not this part, because it looks like there is no way to properly answer Fnatic at the moment, but they need some time. The Monkey King is still their #1. Actually, he's not even the #1 net worth anymore. He's fallen behind. Bane picked up, thrown back down again. They frostbite, so there was no chance of any way to really react.
And the problem is, like, the whole time, as soon as Ice realizes, okay, they're not trying to fight my team, he can just push mid with no fear whatsoever. He is look at him go. He's just running in. Now they're going to aggro
with the Eul Scepter, they isolate the Monkey King, send him up and towards the air with the Torrent, with the Ship. Death will be caught by this one as well. Arbed's already found the first kill, and Death is just trying to retreat back out. The Moonlight Shadow for protection will allow for the retreat.
It's just so easy for Fnatic to play 2 lanes. So that whole time, the team is playing around where is MP, where is Timbersaw. So Ice is going to play mid MP has been playing topside this whole game, and the rest of the squad just flows in between. They have a blink initiation, they got Abed with the X, full mana at all times thanks to jabs. So the 3 killers just sort of pick a core to play around.
compLexity come out, looking for the Crystal Maiden. Already your Scepter up and towards the air, follow up with the arrow and into the Starfall. Crystal Maiden will die. DJ, I love how he doesn't even move.
Yeah.
He finishes farming up the camp and it's like, all right, now I'll blink away.
Yep. You could argue Jabs doesn't need it either, but it's only 220 gold. Ice was bottom as that went down. MP was farming jungle, then caught mid lane, and still, like, the creep waves are the concern because Fnatic seems to always have pressure on the compLexity side of the map. And for some time, until you've got more farm on the Mirana and the Sven, they simply can't compete with the massive wave clear advantage that the C side is able to output. And
okay, we'll see if Ice can die, because it's about to be tested. 4 heroes will be down on the bottom lane from compLexity to try and find this kill, while Sven's going to have his time up on the top. Ice chains away, but Z-Freak will find the kill, combining with the Starfall of Miracle.
They needed that one. He's a little too cocky. If he's playing left side, maybe he has a chance to escape, but there's no way he's going to live once he gets caught inside the forest, all the way deep near the edge of the world.
Yep. Thanks to the blink tag that was actually early picked up on death, he survived that gank that was coming at him on the top lane. And they're looking for some critical items. The blink dagger is on him. BKB's being worked up by Limp. The Hand of Midas from Z-Freak as he hits the level 10 talent. So the plus 90 gold comes into the Phoenix, so affording something hopefully nice for his team.
And MP, he went the Yasha blink build, so he's not scaling as fast as we've seen like these Battle Fury Rush jugs go, but they're just hunting, even though Timbersaw's dead. They have a ward on death right below.
Yeah, that's a very dead Sven, unless he can blink away instantly, but no. They start off with a torrent. The vision from the observed ward lets them set up absolutely perfectly. Yeah, okay, they give it to MP. Ensure his momentum continues while on bottom lane, Miracle. First jump. And away from the attack of DJ Ice.
Yeah. Still, Cole having a difficult time. Like they've had a sentry down that would get that ward on the top hill spot in their own jungle, but they just haven't been able to check high ground, which is one of the concerns. Like, only really Mirana Arrow perhaps could get vision up there. You could dive through, Monkey King could leap on top of it, but otherwise there's just no way to get vision up there. I'd like to see Adam throw the courier. Yeah, it just got pinged out. Because they're just playing under vision right now. This is so disadvantageous for them. Fnatic is completely aware there's 4 heroes in this area.
Oh.
Finally go down.
3-4-3, sacrificing himself to get the D ward out. Z-Freak wants to help out. It's actually a nice hit from Limp, but the freezing field, no, they actually get the stun out.
Shit.
Mirana in through the rear, and the Fiend's grip control. MP can't do anything. 2 heroes down so quickly. I think you'll still lose the Bane thanks to the torrent, but Abed stuck around to get that one down, and he'll have a hard time walking it off. Or will he? Shadowbladed, who's got detection? Who can see the Kunkka? It is Pulp. He's just stashed away to the eastern side.
They scanned him out though.
They're feeling. Kunkka finding him in the trees. Death gets the Stormbolt out, and Abed will go down. compLexity getting much needed kills.
It's a good turnaround. Could have gone much worse than Fnatic being a little overzealous with their lead. Ice has been no cares whatsoever about what his team's been doing. He's been consistently just farming jungle even where he was in that location. If he's able to connect a bit faster, perhaps you can take that team fight, but well executed by Cole. Adam did a great job staying alive, then getting the grip into the face of, I believe that was the
It was
MP
the Kunkka. Oh yeah, sorry, Juggernaut, yeah. Juggernaut was
he
held.
wasn't even able to get his ultimate off, and then Limp's there, of course, to drop the Wukongs. And Fnatic, that is the one bane, no pun intended, that will prevent them from winning engagements, is if Limp is able to stay inside that monkey ring and hopefully have a couple of enemies inside to beat on as well.
It even felt like Miracle had a use then. Like his arrow was able to shut down the Crystal Maiden. I'm sorry to put it so bluntly. But it really feels like he's a Eul Scepter Mirana. This doesn't feel like that damage dealing #1 position. It's literally, I am now my own Bane setup.
Yep, he's done admirably under the circumstances, really. He's 4-1-7. First Mirana Euls of the patch.
Yeah.
And, he'll be going for Maelstrom next, but the concern is that he's itemizing to scale, but unlike
those odds, that swung. Like, I think it was about 4 points going the way of compLexity. Now it's 1-8. I don't think they're out that far, though. Like, well, it still feels like there's opportunities.
The concern is that Fnatic is itemizing to scale, but it also naturally increases their survivability. Mirana does not have that luxury. You need Yules, then you're going to go Maelstrom, maybe you get a BKB at some point, but no matter when he gets this next item, he's still dead to an X combo. He's still dead to a Blink initiation with a follow-up. Like, you just get Sunlocked to death. You look at the side of Fnatic, everyone's so damn tanky. 2,500 HP almost on Kunkka, plus the Rum debuff. You've got a pipe now finished on the Timbersaw.
Oh god, and you just gave
Jug has Aegis.
An Aegis as well as a double damage rune sitting in the river. So this is going to get even easier for MP if they can just find an earlier target.
Hey, Z-Freak does have the Spirit Vessel finished. He's almost level 15. If he could get that talent, that would be so huge. I would like to see him get that mid-wave XP before you take this fight.
Are they baiting with 3-4-3? he's put the Sentry Ward down. Kunkka wants to push out the lane. This will be off the back of his Shadow Blade and smoke. No one's nearby to get hit by the splash of the Tidebringer.
You can see the lines, lots of circles and lines being drawn on the minimap.
They blink down to bottom lane. Limp gets up into the trees and away, wasting a little bit of time, but the Dire Observer Ward 3-4-3 is going to break the smoke. Nightmare's over on one. DJ jumps forward, avalanche toss. No way for 3-4-3 to survive that, but does reveal Fnatic's movements at least.
It is go time for Fnatic. You have hit a timing. Your team is incredibly tanky. You've got Aegis. All your initiation tools are prepared. A Shadow Blade on Kunkka and the Tiny. It's just much easier for them to find these quality engagements. compLexity, they've got to make sure they bait some sort of fight into a choke point, egg, Monkey King ult, get a big turnaround, but it's imperative that they use these huge cooldowns and get big payoff out of it, because otherwise, Fnatic, they're just going to have such an easy time finding one kill after another.
Oh, no, don't jump down. DJ's already there! He hits the avalanche as Limp connects on the ground. Limp's like, I didn't want any of this. I don't want any of this. He tries to dodge with the mischief, but he couldn't get up onto the trees. Speaking of which, the cutter has arrived. Ice, ice, ice.
The awareness from DJ, man. This is one of the reasons he was one of the most sought-after free agents in that TI shuffle. Just camping his creep wave, recognizing that Limp, he's going to be wanting to play this way.
The creep skip.
Creep skip, because they have Aegis, and they've got the initiation advantage, so there's no real way for a Monkey King to find engagements unless they look to push high ground. And look, MP TP's top, and Fnatic don't even care. They're going to finish off this tier 2. They're ensuring that at all times they're keeping 3 creep waves pushing. They want to control the next minute of the map, but compLexity can make a move here.
Jump forward with the Stormbolt. They're trying to go up to DJ. He's tanking. He's able to get Invis without any dust. They can't get this off. Z-Freak was sent up. He didn't actually even have dust. They turn on the Sunray looking for the burn. Ice, ice, ice. Even with the Spirit Vessel, still insanely tanky, and they're all chasing, but look who's next to him. Tiny, under the cover of Invis. This Moonlight Shadow is not doing anywhere near enough. Oh boy. And even their Sentry Ward's going to be out of range of the Observer, which saw all of this coming.
Yep. There's no team fight area control. That's the concern. You only have this blink single target initiation. You can go with the Sven, then the arrow, and maybe a sleep and a grip on the outskirts. But like, as far as raw team fight, there's really nothing you can do.
Z-Freak able to Icarus dive himself away to safety, but that is a long jump for Timbersaw. Not enough mana to get the easy kill onto Z-Freak, who's got 10 1 charges, decides to go into the Nova. They'll get in range, but enough to kill him up before the stun connects. It just. Nightmare movement, X marks the spot, 3-4-3. Try and be brought back. The combination timing not quite right, but it'll still be good enough, especially when you can toss back Miracle. And this really looks like it's going to be the game pretty soon. No Mirana for 50 seconds. No way to get a high ground defense. No Supernova, even if Phoenix buys back. It looks like there's not much hope.
It's easier for Fnatic to play, and all they ever need is that couple of pickoffs. Z-Freak gets caught trying to push out lanes, but you know, it's just so much easier for Fnatic to play. They've got 3 creep waves beyond the tier 2's death on Cole's side of the map. So you're forced to show heroes to just keep these creep waves out of your tier 3s, and Fnatic have just an easier time being mobile, staying aggressive, and it's like, if you look at the warding, Cole doesn't really know where this Radiant side is playing. They're going to lose Shrines now, they're going to lose 4 Bounty Runes, and Fnatic, you wait for the second Roche, you look for that one more play, perhaps even do it now. They already have the melee racks. Wow, I thought it was just the tower.
Looks for a line just to get, well, there's no crit, there's no real follow-up, but yeah. Take out the Shrines and then get in. Jabs is putting down aggressive Observer Wards. Trying to see inside the compLexity base. It's not like compLexity have enough issues seeing outside the base, as you were saying, but now if they're being watched inside their own base, 3-4-3 dropped a sentry on bottom lane, but there's nothing there. They have their one Observer Ward that's giving them information they want to fight with, but DJ, they're the one, he's They're actually sending him in with X mark spots. We get the avalanche toss combination, and Z-Freak, one charge will keep him alive. He quickly jumped into the Spirit Vessel, and Tiny doesn't actually get out of this one. The Starfall, they slap him down so Miracle can get the follow-up. Our bed was nearby, but 47 seconds. Nice long jump in from Limp, finding Jabs, and the follow-up will be there. Stormbolt in 1 second time, and that can just guarantee the kill onto Jabs. He'll send it back, but hello Lotus, but it's still not enough. This is compLexity getting some breathing room, but that's all.
Unfortunately, Roche just not spawning for another 3 minutes.
Are they going to keep pushing? They're gonna try and force something, because I suppose compLexity, this is the best momentum they've had in a while.
Limp could get a huge ult off here if Fnatic step out of position, but wisely just going to retreat all the way back to their tier 3. It's a 5-on-3 scenario. You could really only lose the game from this position. Don't give Cole that massive team fight window, especially because in this scenario where Cole is actively looking for an engagement, you can assume Monkey King will be in the trees, thus you will be at a significant vision disadvantage. It's exactly what Limp is doing. He has the BKB complete.
Also, the reason why Ice is the one on the front lines, one, because he's insanely tanky, and two, because he's just hunting Limp, and he cuts him down, follows him the whole way. The Ready Observer Ward saw the long jump. Now DJ follows up with his own, and Limp, now he'll commit the BKB into the Wukong's command. Does he have enough life to sustain through this? When the ship comes in, Fnatic, they won't take much damage, but thanks to the Omni Slash compLexity, are taking huge amounts of damage. Death, he's backing up the spin from MP's chasing him, but thanks to the fact he had a BKB, he was immune for the moment. Monkey King will still go down, but considering Fnatic brought the whole team into this, compLexity should be pretty happy they get away with only 1 death on the Monkey.
And unfortunately, Limp, because of that BKB broke, he has the buyback, just enough gold. But you have no cooldowns now.
3-4-3. That's 11 deaths for him. It is not a happy day for the net worth who can't crack over 1,000. The buyback comes in from Monkey. Miranda's trying to find her own angle, but she's right next to the Observer Ward. The stun's out over on the Conqueror. It's a good chain. Lotus Orb won't break you free of that one with the Starfall damage. Our bed will fall, and with the jump forward compLexity, they move ahead of the boat, ahead of the tide. Jabs, one more attack will give Death this double kill. But they need more information. Tiny's just walking away into the cover of the Shadow Blade.
Yeah, that fight, I mean, Z-Freak popped off for like 3,000 damage. Death hit just 2 cleave attacks. Yet still, Jug able to escape, Timber able to escape. You get 2, you defend your base, but this is all leading up to that next Roche engagement. It'll spawn anywhere from the next 30 seconds to 3 minutes 30. And Cole, you've got to be ready, because if you give away Aegis,
Ice. Friends are coming to help him out, but Z-Freak's also in the neighborhood. It won't really matter, however. Fire Spirit does not really intimidate a Timbersaw as MP starts his spin. It's a good slap down, follow-up arrow. There's good combinations coming in from compLexity. Ice, they haven't got him down just yet. He'll get up the hill. The Lotus Orb's there to protect, and now we go up into the air. Yules on Yules action, and his Timber Chain gets to the trees on the low ground. They'll send him up again. Is there an arrow? It's still on cooldown for the moment, but the Stormbolt flies forward, and he just gets his way. He actually is able to dodge it out, and now MP goes on the rampage. Oh, Willie, Limp tries to hide inside the Wukong command. He gets a slap down, clipping the Crystal Maiden in the backline, so Juggernaut is down. Jabs will join him, but Ice, the one who started this whole thing, is still safe.
Dude, the thing about compLexity's lineup, remember, Phoenix, Z-Freak has the 90 GPM talent, and he rushed Midas. Look at his net worth. In a couple of minutes, he'll be the most farmed hero on compLexity Gaming, and unfortunately, he is the 4 position, but most of the games they end up winning, he is in that #1 spot, especially on this hero. So it's a bit weird, but that Spirit Vessel spam on the Timber, that's what's actually preventing Ice from getting the enough regen to survive.
Can we actually watch that fight again just to see the timing for Ice escape, please?
Well, okay, Adam slept the stun aggressively so that the Timber was able to then just immune it and then Timber chain forwards, but he had a great grip from the high ground as Limp came out with the Monkey King ult, and no matter what Jug itemizes for, if he gets gripped inside the Wukong, he will die, 100%. Level 20 now on Phoenix as well. I assume he'll be going for Supernova Stun Duration.
Here's that fight once again. So all starts off so deep. They're getting the chain stuns off, and they hold him in position, but there's chase up on the hill.
It's just that was a full Spirit Vessel. He Lotus Orbs, and as soon as he gets Yules there, now immediately another Lotus Orb is going to come out, and he just will not be sustaining.
Another Yules.
Here comes the sleep. And the blink forward from DJ, so the sun actually hit nobody, but this is just great positioning from Adam. And Jabs just doesn't have vision up here. He drops the Sentry and the Ward, but ends up, like, he's dead anyway. But if he had vision there, maybe he could have saved his ally. It was 1 second away from the frostbite, though, when the Jug actually ticked down. So probably not likely, but this is the concern, where because the big cooldowns were used, compLexity is now not in a position to defend the Roche pit. And because of that, Fnatic take it for free.
Okay, Nox, I know you're throwing this stuff up, but let's just ease off Adam for a bit, right?
That is...
he's doing the job of his team. Now, jump forward. Oh, hello, Juggernaut. Instant into the Fiend's Grip. Need to kill him off with Wukong's command. Limp gets the perfect 4-man stun out. He's already killed off one. The Aegis Immortal is broken. Arbet's running back out to the cover of BKB, but the Aegis Immortal is burned. A perfect Nova. No one's nearby to help it out. Crystal Maiden's trying, but MP protected by the Low Sword, but you still get the Supernova egg off into the Sunray. DJ, he's finally cleaning up these back lines, and where's your damage output from compLexity? It needs to come, but the Monkey King's just up and towards the air, and without BKB, he's never-endingly controlled. He actually looks for the dodge and death. A great double Storm Bolt, but he's lost his Monkey King. He'll TP up. No, he won't. The Frostbite from Jabs just coming off cooldown to connect on his target. And the man who did so much work will be the last one to die for compLexity. Z-Freak will fall. Ice gets himself a triple kill.
It's the perfect fight for Cole, but this time Jug has an Aegis. Limp hit a 4-man stun and a perfect ultimate, but it just isn't enough because it takes so much time to kill the Jug twice. And Cole, they run out of gas. When their ults are down, there's just, they don't have damage. As you're saying, like, Z-Freak's spells are on cooldown. Like, what's he supposed to do at this point?
And without that BKB to protect up the Monkey King, he can't stay on the front lines. DJ really burning hard at Z-Freak, hitting him with both the Sunray and the Spirit Vessel. And you're seeing DJ, yeah, he's TPing all the way back. There's no X marks to bring him back to the front lines.
He's got bots, though.
That's
he has the TP bots.
Oh, okay, so that'll bring him, kill that range creep. And he got it. 3-4-3 gets rid of it. No way to come back.
That's huge, because that'll actually keep them away from that precious second racks. And you know Fnatic is ahead. They're definitely favored to still win this game, but we've seen now that Colt does have a tool, maybe not to take objectives after, but they can certainly win an engagement. But so far, it's been on the back of Limp hitting like 3 or 4-man stun and Wukong's, and that's, you know, at a certain point, Fnatic is not going to just run straight up a choke point.
Yeah, at some point they'll be like, hey, maybe we should play a little bit smarter than this. Yeah, okay, we're undefeated in our group stage. Like, I didn't even realize they were the only undefeated team at ESL One so far. It's like, wait, no, Team Secret, right? Team Secret are going to be in it. No, Team Secret actually dropped a game. So did Gambit. They're both at 7-1.
It's definitely looking good. And you just look at the way the net worths are split on the teams. The Fnatic side, it just looks... He looks more comfortable. You know what I mean? You look at the way they've itemized. You've got Greaves, you got a Lotus, a Halberd, like all these team fight items picked up.
It's the heroes that like the players have as well. Like this is total comfort zone in all shapes.
I'm just always afraid when I look at the Cole lineup and see Limp in 4th place on the net worth, because it just, you have...
Can I be honest, you always look afraid when you look at the compLexity lineup. They're going in over on MP.
Nice.
Now the damage is there. Very quick kill on the Juggernaut. Didn't have to expend too much for it. Ice trying to protect himself with the Lotus Orb. And the jump back in. DJ's arrived. Avalanche toss combo. Say goodbye to Bane. Say goodbye to that Fiend's Grip, that beautiful control. And Juggernaut will buy back. Looking to press the advantage. Fnatic moving forward. Limp going to go into the Wukongs and BKB. They need some extra slow. He actually pulls back out the Wukongs. They've killed off the Crystal Maiden. compLexity, they just want to get back inside the base. It's 2 heroes killed off and one of them bought back.
They have a smoke. Oh, this would be the perfect time to get out aggressive on the map.
That's what they just did.
Yep, nice, perfect.
As in, they just used their smoke. Ice.
Death, you have no BKB.
He's on the front lines, but DJ, it's a huge avalanche combination. The back line is still a 2-man stun. Can they hold him in the edge of the Wukong's command? Combining with the Supernova, the damage output. Juggernaut's there in the spin, trying to kill it off, but just no! He couldn't get it off Z-Freak. That's what they needed to actually stay in this game and stay in ESL One, but it looks like GG, well played. Fnatic will take the victory, and life has just gotten a hell of a lot worse for compLexity Gaming. Their results are now going 2-5. It's a rough run to say the least, and they're sitting on the cusp of elimination.
Not necessarily.
They still have a chance, depending on how Astra and Alliance play out.
The thing about that last game is you could see in that final engagement, Fnatic learned. You know, it took them a while, but we're not going to just continue this aggression. Bait out the Wukongs and then kite back. And yes, Z-Freak can land the egg now, but it's actually targetable. In the previous engagement, there was just too much chaos. The egg lands this like massive 4-second stun on everybody, and you're losing this engagement. This time, take it a little more chill. bunch of buybacks burnt, but after that initial kill, there was just nothing other than these two ults to rely upon for damage.
Yeah, DJ was kind of a superhero on that front, just being able to get into the back lines. 13, 3, 15. So out of the 34 kills, he was involved in 28 of them.
Not bad. It's
Pretty
an okay performance.
It's okay, yeah, sure. How much do you expect professional players these days, Kyle?
Well, if DJ,
that's a loaded question right there.
If Fnatic moves from this perennially like second top tier position instead of these 5th, 6th place finishes, maybe they start playing in some finals.
Yeah.
DJ will finally get, I think, a lot of the love and praise he deserves because he is on a tier with the TI winners.
Yeah.
JRX, GH, Roger, he is that good.
He just needed enablers, right? Like, to jump in and do that, like, it's a great start, and then you have the rest of Fnatic come over, and that was one of those things that I never really felt from Fnatic in their early days when they first assembled. It's like, oh, you're going in, are you? Now we go in, but now it's like everyone is on the same page from Fnatic. They're playing around, literally. It was ping pong as prep for this game, and they still take game number 1 in the series.
Yes, they do indeed. Fnatic absolutely on a tear here at ESL One Katowice. So that's 7 out of 7. And they're attempting to make it 8 out of 8. The second game, of course, around the corner. But let's break down that first game. We've got Blitz alongside Purge to do exactly that, gents. Another great performance from Fnatic.
It really was. I think Ice maybe had some of the bigger impact, just constantly in the front line, setting things up. I loved his Yule Scepter purchase. It kind of showed what Kunkka did well. It's like creating opportunities for the rest of his team while still being a presence and annoying for Cole. So it's like they just had like utter map control. They had crazy movement and stuff. But as a whole, it was a really close game. Yeah,
I was going to say much closer than we probably expected, Will, as well. I mean, compLexity, they've played a part in this game at least.
Yeah, I mean, Cole put up a really good fight. The fight by Roshan, especially, and the one right above the pit, where they were able to get the Fiend's Grip off on the MP from the high ground. I thought that was really brilliant by them. Just good executed team fights overall. It just felt like at some point they ran out of steam. They had to have so many clutch moments in a row, and they just weren't able to produce it.
Yeah, a couple of those late game team fights didn't go their way, and that was almost enough, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's all it takes really. But it's just very difficult to fight into the enemy lineup between like Timbersaw being survivable and Jug having spin options and Kunkka both. They have to damage through that as well. Even just killing Timbersaw in this example was really hard. I mean, part of that's because it's one of Ice's best heroes, and they are a little bit damage limited, but DJ also had a really good performance too. This fight was a pretty incredible turnaround.
Yeah, the commentators waxed lyrical at the end of the commentary about DJ's performance. Do you agree with what Kyle was saying? He's up there with the big TI winners as a 4. He's up there with the Rogers and the GHs of this world.
Roger has not won TI yet.
No, but is he up there with those tier 1?
Yeah, but you can't preface it as like those TI winners and Roger's the third on the list. Like, I agree he's in the same caliber, but you know, he hasn't taken the win yet. I just want to point out Kyle's errors.
All right, okay, all right.
That's all. Move on.
All right. Yeah, I'm fine with you doing that. It's no problem. But you know, try not to throw each other under the bus.
I got to do that.
Really?
I don't know. It's fun.
All right.
I don't think much past that.
Great performance by them. What did compLexity do wrong, Will, if anything, in this game?
I feel like I think their lineup, like the way that they set up fights, is just a lot harder overall. Like big team fights. I felt like it was easier for Fnatic to just sort of run in with their really tanky cores. They always had the boat buff to back themselves up, so nobody really got bursted. Yep. I felt like they were close. Like they weren't off by a lot. Maybe 1 or 2 more clutch moments. If they were able to hold that mid defense a little bit better, it might have made the difference. Part of the problem too is like they couldn't really do anything whenever they did win team fights. Like their lineup was not really suited, especially because, you know, Miracle felt like he had to go for the Yule Scepter to counter the Kunkka. But I also feel like just going Maelstrom BKB, it's a little bit riskier, but I feel like he needed that just because I felt like their team sort of liked damage and they didn't really have the ability to just go high ground and hit buildings too.
The highlight on the scoreboard has to be DJ. 13, 3, and 15 on that tiny, on 28 of the 34 kills.
Like, just ending at higher net worth than your hard carry is bonkers. I mean, MP didn't go the hardest farming build by any means, but he looks like he was the mid player or the safe lane player or something. Like it's crazy, super crazy. Yeah. I really agreed with what you said, Will, but it's hard to start fights. If you look at what Cole's running with, they have to start fights with like a grip from a smoke, or has to be like an arrow after a nightmare or something like that. Whereas on the other side, DJ could do an Avatos, or they could X marks to spot somebody, or they could Yule set up into some guy. They just had so many more options for initiation.
Yeah, I mean, Limp did really well with what he was given. Like, he hit multiple man stuns, like Kyle said, when they try to go into the high ground. But even then, like, I think the bigger issue is transitioning into team fights and then getting out of them and being able to actually push towers. Like, if you look at their team, they didn't really have that capability. Whereas, you know, Jug, Tiny, those heroes will always allow you, win a fight, you get to just hit buildings. Whereas for complexity, when you don't have the ability to go high ground easily or even pressure towers, Paul, then your options are you have to consistently win team fights. You have to win like 4 team fights in a row, and that makes it a little bit difficult.
Is it becoming a thing now, gents, with Fnatic, the way that they've set themselves up? Not identical drafts, but they're giving themselves plenty of options, aren't they, in team fights?
Yeah, I mean, like you pointed out, the Tiny can go lots of different ways, and then they just make sure that they have some decent options going into the mid game. I mean, they picked Jug, Tiny first. Those are both so defensive. Like, Jug isn't bad enough in any way. He's not really super countered. He has some like limitations, but he's safe. He fits MP. So their opening was just, it seems like difficult to counter outside of them both being melee or something. Yeah. Maybe their lanes are a little bit too straightforward, but yeah, they're drafting in a good way that still gives them options. Like the Timbersaw was good where it was picked. The Kunkka forced Mirana to have to go Yules. Maybe you can say, maybe you shouldn't pick Mirana there, but yeah, sure. They've been doing a really good job there. They're hitting all the bases. Yeah, I mean, I think back a year ago, Will, we were at the end of a meta which was very dependent on flex picks early on. You know, we were seeing a lot of heroes that you could place 1, 3, 5, 4, wherever you wanted pretty much. And we somehow moved away from that through the year. Is it coming back? Is that what Fnatic is showing us?
I mean, it'll always be somewhat popular just because if you have somebody that can play something that'll just win you the game, I think that's why, for example, Chaos do it so often, is because they have a Meepo player or like a last pick invoker for Weehaw or something like that. Yeah. Like you'll see it on teams like that. For example, Liquid with Brood, VP with Brood. If you have somebody that specializes in one of those like instant win, if we see the opportunity heroes, then it's a lot more likely. Whereas like Fnatic, they have the option always to do something like Meepo. It helps that DJ and Ice and Abed play everything under the sun.
Very flexible indeed. All right, Jeds, thank you very much. More from both Purge and Blitz very shortly, but headed to a break right now. More bad news if you're a complexity fan. They really do need this last game of the night, and they've got some form when it comes to last games of the night after winning against an IP last night. Can they do it again against Fnatic, who are currently 7-0? We'll find out very shortly.
It's the perfect 4-man stun out. He's already killed off one. The Aegis Immortal is broken. Abed's running back out to the cover of BKB, but the Aegis Immortal is spun. A perfect Nova. No one's nearby to help it out. Crystal Maiden's trying, but MP protected by Lozor, but you still get the Supernova egged off into the Sunray. DJ, he's finally cleaning up these back lines. And where's your damage output from complexity? It needs to come with the Monkey Kings to set up in towards the air with that BKB. He's never-endingly controlled. He actually looks for the dodge and death. A great double Stormbolt, but he's lost his Monkey King. He'll TP up. No, he won't. The Frostbite from Jabs just coming off cooldown to connect on his target. And the man who did so much work will be the last one to die for complexity. Z-Freak will...